What made you straight up nope out of a relationship? Story 1. I received a message that clearly wasn't meant for me. We just had our first date, which went really well. They're calling me cheap and a slimeball and saying that I'm on my last chance to make things right on her coming birthday with lots of presents. I replied, "Hi, this is X. We just met and had one date. Was that message for someone else?" She replied, pretending to be her 12-year-old sister. Then apparently her dad messaged to me with how he'd told off his younger daughter. Story 2. I genuinely feared for my safety. I went over and we got into an argument, so I essentially slept on the floor. I went to the bathroom to text one of my buddies to come pick me up since I thought she'd fallen asleep. I suddenly got a text from her asking, "Where are you?" And my phone made a sound. I froze up and opened the bathroom door, and she was already standing there waiting for me in the darkness. She didn't say a word at all. She just stared at me until I walked by. I went back to my spot on the floor, got under the blanket, and pretended to be going to sleep until she did. After about 30 minutes, I decided to peek out from under the covers, and she was literally towering over me in total darkness with her eyes wide open the entire time. I got the F out of there so fast. Story 3. Married for 6 years, started out thinking she just struggled with depression and anxiety sometimes, but things kept escalating. I walked away when she started threatening to stab me in my sleep. We'd already tried several couples and individual therapists, but she refused to consider medication. I called her to meet up and try to find some closure, but she cut me off, telling me I wasn't allowed to leave her and that as punishment she was sleeping with 2 other guys. At that point, I just ignored her number and filed for divorce. I hope she's doing well, but I'm glad to not be afraid for my life. Story 4. My brother came to visit me. After I spent the whole day with my girlfriend, it was time to see my brother because we had not seen each other for a long time. We prepared some snacks and are about to start LOTR because both of us love it. She called me and started a long conversation on the phone. I said my brother's waiting for me, and she said that I cannot spend my time with anyone because it belongs to her. It was the last talk between the two of us. Story 5. We'd been together for quite a while, 6 to 8 months, and lived together for at least 2 months when I decided to make tuna salad. I asked how he liked it. He told me. I came back with 2 bowls. Half the can made his way, and half the can made the way I liked it. He completely freaked out. He said, "If we can't agree on how to eat tuna, how will this ever work?" I said that we don't have to agree. We can both have it exactly the way we want and be happy. He vehemently disagreed. I started thinking of all his other controlling behaviors and his inability to compromise. It wasn't that day that we broke up, but it was definitely the day our relationship broke. The cheating didn't help either. Story 6. When my now ex-wife came into the living room where I was sleeping on the couch after a fight and started lunging at me. She asked me if she reminded me of my stepdad who used to come in my room at night and stand over me before he dragged me out of my bed by my ankles. He would then put the boots to me for whatever sins I had committed that day. She was the only person I had ever shared this with. She went out of town for work 2 days later, and when she came home, I was gone and in another state. It was remarkable the amount of abuse I put up with up until that point. It dawned on me then that if he had returned to my life, I wouldn't let him hurt me, so there was no reason to let her abuse me either. Story 7. My brother took a girl to a high-end sushi place, and his date ordered 3 times the food as he did. He just got grilled salmon. She ate almost none of it. And at the end, she said she ordered all the extras so she could take some home for tomorrow. When the waiter showed up for the bill, she excused herself to go to the bathroom. The waiter asked my brother if he wanted to split the check, and at that point, my brother did the right thing and stuck her with the $100 worth of sushi and booze. The girl returned to see a huge check on her seat. Story 8. We went to the mall and stopped by this little kiosk selling cookies. I decided that I would get 1 cookie. The lady working there said if I buy 2, I get 1 free. I decided to buy 2 and get the 3rd one free. My date went off on this lady, saying she was trying to scam me, etc. He was really yelling so loudly that it was echoing through the mall. It was so embarrassing. If you're rude to people in customer service, you're not for me. Story 9. I was going through some stuff in my early 20s and was pretty desperate for any kind of affection, which is the only reason I took a couple of weeks to get out of this rut. The second time I ever met her, she told me to delete every girl's number from my phone, my sister included. She then came over to my place, saw I had a full bookshelf, ridiculed me for being a reader, and in the same breath announced that she loved cocaine so much and wanted me to try it. Finally, I escaped, But by then, she was already sleeping with two of my friends who are obviously no longer my friends. The good news is that I've now been happily married for 5 years and consider myself incredibly lucky. Story 10. My ex was in the closet, so in the 2 years we were together, I know, way longer than it should have lasted. I never met his family, most of his friends, and he never met mine. We only hanged out in my apartment. We never officially dated because he wanted me to have a six-pack first. And even when he came out of the closet, he never mentioned me to his family. Broke up with me with a Facebook chat, and then would still try to be with me and get mad if I was with someone else. Story 11. I was dating a woman who was previously married, and she and her ex had a 2-year-old child together. One night, she tells me of this plan to coach her daughter to claim this guy had molested her because she wanted full custody and didn't want this guy around anymore. I decided right then to bounce right the F out of that relationship. Yes, I did call and tell the father of her plan. As far as I know, she never actually went through with it, but she did attempt to have drugs planted on him. I'm not sure how that eventually turned out. I've been dating her for a year, but after that conversation, I ghosted her. Just straight up cut all contact. Story 12. She came to stay for the first time. It was the night before New Year's Eve, and we were planning to go out drinking for New Year's Eve. I just worked a 12-hour shift as a carpet fitter, which is manual labor, so I was exhausted. She had a few drinks and started to get aggressive because I wanted to just relax that night, but she wanted to go out drinking. We broke up 3 days later. My father was an aggressive drunk when I was a kid, so I could see how it would go. If you know you're an aggressive drunk, get off the drink, man. Story 13. I found a video on my husband's tablet that was from a hidden camera in our bathroom. It showed my 14-year-old niece's nudeness. We had just had our 7th anniversary and had a 6-year-old of our own. I had kissed him and sent him off to work that morning, thinking I had a wonderful husband. Before he got off work, I'd called the police and a restraining order quickly followed. I arranged for him to move in with his parents before he got off work. He never came home again. Good riddance. It was like our marriage evaporated. It's been hard to process, but I wouldn't change the way I handled anything. Since then, he has pleaded guilty to 8 counts related to the production and possession of child pornography. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison with 34 suspended. He will register as a sex offender for life. He will be on indefinite supervision when he gets out. He can't have unsupervised contact with any children, even his own. It's been traumatic, and now I have to figure out the divorce. I put it to the side during the criminal case. We've been legally separated since that day. I have no regrets. My niece got justice and can now start to heal. My child and other children are safe from him, and he didn't have a chance to escalate. Story 14. She showed up late at my place one night because she couldn't sleep at her place alone. I was fine with that until she started talking about the reason why. When she was alone, the demons in the corners and edges of the room would fill the dark spots and watch with their glowing eyes. I urged her continuously to get help, to go to the doctor, but she wouldn't do it. What she was seeing was real. I felt terrible leaving her for that, but I wasn't equipped to deal with someone who needed professional help but refused it.